Okay, so I'm going to open the meeting of the Nantucket Commission on Disability. It's 3:05 on February 22nd, 2024. This is a Zoom meeting, so first thing I'll do is take attendance to see who's here. So just when I call your name, just say you're here. Rocky,
Here.
Mary Beth,
Here.
Augie,
Here.
Georgia,
Here.
and Jeanette. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I'm here.
Good. And we also have Brenda McDonough, our facilitator. Okay, so we will adopt the agenda as written. I should probably read the script, which I'll do briefly. Okay, we've done attendance. So this is a open meeting of the Commission on Disability being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. We're convening by video conference. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Yeah, so don't share your screen with anybody. And I think we all know the rules, so we'll skip the rest. Okay. So, there is no members of the public here, so there's no public comment. And Brenda, you just sent out minutes. I'm looking at the agenda. Approve open session minutes for August 17.
Yeah, I sent them out again early this morning, and I sent them out in December, Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can approve those. Does anybody have any comments about the minutes of August 17th?
No.
Nope.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Rocky, and seconded by
I'll second it.
Mary Beth. All those in favor, and I'll do the roll call. Rocky,
Aye.
Mary Beth,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Jeanette,
Aye.
Georgia,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So those are done. So for new business, what we're going to be doing now, mostly today, is reviewing the bylaws that we have been working on through. I can find them. Yeah, Mary Beth. I don't know when this got initiated, but Mary Beth was great reviewing all of with Brenda and I, the bylaws to just to kind of make it read really well, and the grammar is now perfect, and all the usual things that we want to make right. So before I think what I'll do you all have a copy of this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Yes, I do.
I'll bring it up on the screen. You don't have to pull yours out if you don't want to. But before I think we might as well just read through the whole thing, which I'll do. But before I do that, Mary Beth, do you have any comments about what you went through or how you went about this, or just want me to start?
Well, briefly, what I had looked at was the copy that Brenda sent me, which I think was the last revision, which was in 2010, correct, Brenda?
Correct.
And then compared that with, she also sent me a copy of the Massachusetts Office on Disabilities bylaws, which the Nantucket one was apparently based on. And just in going through it, just to me, there were various things that didn't apply, or, because weren't unique or specific to Nantucket. So that was my goal, was to go through and try to tidy it up, and have it not necessarily have to follow the Massachusetts, initial guide if it didn't make any sense for Nantucket. So,
good.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna. I think we probably should just get this in the public record. So I'm going to read through the bylaws, starting with Article 1, name and purpose. The name of this commission is the Nantucket Commission on Disability, hereinafter referred to as the Commission. The commission definition is the commission provides guidance, assistance, and advocacy to support the needs and interests of all people with disabilities living on or visiting the island. Given Nantucket's designation as a National Historic Landmark, a significant aspect of the commission's work involves serving as a dedicated and robust voice for the disabled community in navigating the balance between historical preservation and the mission that we strive to achieve, which is access for all. The purpose of the commission is to implement and or carry out programs in coordination with the programs of the Massachusetts Office on Disability to facilitate full and equal participation in all aspects of life in the town of Nantucket for people with disabilities. The purpose of these bylaws is to establish principles and procedures for the governance of the commission. So Article 2, powers and duties. Number 1, the commission is the town's advocacy group for Nantucket's residents and visitors who have a disability. Since its establishment in 1986, the commission has successfully been involved in opening many doors of accessibility in Nantucket. We serve as a dedicated and steadfast voice for our disabled community. 2, to work together with local businesses in accommodating their customers, clients who have a disability. We are not an enforcement agency of any kind. We simply try to increase accessibility awareness so that customers with a disability have the same choice of services as other customers. This sometimes involves seeking advice from the Massachusetts Office on Disability regarding reasonable accommodations and from the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board regarding access in public buildings. 3, research local problems of people with disabilities. 4, coordinate the activities of other local groups organized to meet the needs of people with disabilities. 5, review and make recommendations regarding policies, procedures, services, and activities of departments and agencies of the town that impact people with disabilities. 6, work in cooperation with the departments and agencies of the town to bring about maximum participation of people with disabilities. 7, encourage public awareness of disability issues. 8, provide information, referrals, guidance, and advice to individuals, businesses, organizations, and local agencies in all matters pertaining to disability. 9, recruit and recommend prospective commission members to the town manager. Prior to making recommendations, the commission shall solicit nominations and ensure that such nominations are representative of different types of disabilities. 10, file an annual report that shall be printed in the town annual report. 11, take such action as the commission considers appropriate to ensure the equal access status of people with disabilities. 12, review applications for and issue Nantucket disabled parking permits to full-time and part-time Nantucket residents with temporary and permanent disabilities. 13, continually update the commission's Nantucket Accessibility Guide. 14, work with local businesses to assist them in achieving full compliance with the state's AAB's rules and regulations. 15, review AAB variance requests with local architects and property owners at scheduled commission meetings. And 16, deliver portable wheelchair ramps to residences on a temporary basis to enable residents and visitors safe wheelchair access to their homes. So Article 3 is about the membership. The commission shall consist of 5 to 7 members appointed by the town manager. The majority of members must consist of people with disabilities. However, one of the majority members may be an immediate family member of a person with a disability. One member must be either an elected or appointed official of the town. 2, the members shall initially serve the following terms. 2 members shall serve 1-year terms. 2 members shall serve 2-year terms. The remaining members shall serve 3-year terms. After their initial term, all members shall serve 3-year terms. The chairperson and the town manager must be notified in writing of all resignations. If a member is absent from 3 regularly scheduled meetings in any one calendar year, a recommendation shall be made to the town manager that she be removed from the commission unless any or all absences have been excused for good cause by the chairperson. Good cause shall include but not be limited to illness, a death in the family, weather, and professional responsibilities. Number 5, if a member cannot fulfill his or her term, the town manager shall fill that vacancy for the remainder of the term in the same manner as an original appointment. The town manager may remove any member of the commission for just cause. That commission member may request a public hearing before being removed from the commission. 7, members may represent the commission at in public meetings. Members, when acting on behalf of the commission, shall represent the commission's viewpoint. 8, all members shall have full voting rights. Article 4, officers and facilitator. The officers shall include a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and a secretary. Officers shall be elected annually by a majority vote of commission after July 1st of any given year. The duties shall be the chairperson shall develop the agenda in coordination with the facilitator. See below. Preside over all meetings. Appoint subcommittees as needed. Authorize all expenditures. The vice chairperson shall perform all the functions of the chairperson in his or her absence. The facilitator shall keep records of all meetings, attendance, minutes, and correspondence. Post notice of all meetings at least 48 hours before each meeting with the town clerk's office. Distribute minutes of the prior meeting to the members before or at the next meeting. Keep records of all financial matters. Develop a budget in coordination with the commission. Prepare the commission's annual report for inclusion in the town's annual report. And D, the secretary shall fulfill the duties of the facilitator in his or her absence. So Article 5 is about our meetings. The commission shall meet either in person or remotely via Zoom, a minimum of 6 times per year. The date and time shall be posted on the town's website calendar and at the town building at 16 Broad Street. A quorum shall consist of a majority of appointed members at that time. Meeting minutes shall be amended and approved at the next scheduled meeting. Special meetings can be called by the chairperson or by a majority of the commission members. Decisions shall be made by a majority of commission members present at scheduled meetings. Commission members shall be notified of a scheduled meeting at least 7 days prior to the meeting, if possible, but no less than 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting. And any amendments, Article 6, these bylaws may be amended at any duly constituted meeting of the commission by a 2/3 vote of any of those members present, provided written notice of the proposed amendment is distributed to each member at least 7 days prior to the meeting. And our members are me, Mary Beth, Augie, Georgia, Jeanette, and Rocky, and Brenda's our facilitator. So there you have it. So I read them really quickly and I thought of a couple of comments to make, but I thought I'd just get through them first. Does anybody have any comments they want to say regarding what I just read?
No.
Well, I was gonna wait until you do that. My only comment was that on occasion when we've had to have a vote and not everybody, all the members were able to be at a meeting, then we didn't end up voting because there weren't enough people. So it must have said something about a quorum of the membership voting. So, because this sounds like we can vote if there's just 2 or 3 of us there, which is fine with me, but is that correct?
You know, it's interesting. It's one of the things I was going to bring up myself. I looked up online what the definition of a quorum is. And it's, you know, generally it's a majority of the members, but they also say that a quorum can be whatever you decide the quorum is. If it's not written out specifically, then it defaults to a majority of the active members. We have 6 members right now. So a majority, the reason I looked it up is because what if there's 3 of us in a meeting? Is that a quorum or not?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's not a majority. I mean, 50% of the members would be, well, the majority of the members would be over 50%, put it that way. So I think in our case, since we haven't really defined what a quorum is, I think a majority still would need 4 members. Because it generally, majority, and Mary Beth, you might have a legal view on this one. Yeah, I would think that a majority of the members would be at least 51%, so we'd need 4 members.
I'm surprised I didn't bother to look it up, but I didn't. I can Zen and look further into
Mhm.
quorum. But I mean, to me, just, as like reasonable person standard, it would seem to mean a majority of people, I think, at the meeting. I don't know. But with bylaws, I mean, you can essentially define things as you indicated, Mickey, the way that you want. So it's a question of whether you want the quorum to be a majority of members, period, or a majority of members present at the meeting. And I agree with you that majority would be one more than 50%, so, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe the town defines quorum as a majority of the members that are on the board or the commission, right? It may be the Mass Office on Disability does also, and I think that's maybe where we should be looking towards versus just a definition in the
Yeah. Does Jeanette know this from her other committees, or Mickey? I mean, how do other?
I know I'm on the Elder Commission
Yeah,
committee, and they need a quorum. We've had to push
Of
motions
members.
to the following month after month. We had a hard time getting a quorum in our meetings for a long time. So we had 2 months that we didn't have a quorum in a row. So we couldn't vote when they pushed it until I said, why don't we try this? Why don't we try to vote who's coming to the meeting first? Before we
yeah.
have a meeting. So I'm not the only guy in the room. So it was the majority to get the quorum.
The majority of the members as a whole, not the majority of the members present at the meeting.
As long as we had a majority of the members on that commission. So if we had 4 members here, we could vote.
Yes, that's the way I interpret that also.
But not 3,
We
right?
if we had 50-50, no, we didn't. But
No.
I don't think,
More than that.
I'd have to double check, but I don't think there's an even number on that commission. I'm not quite sure.
well,
I
this
think,
seems to be sort of,
I think for the airport commission, we've had 3 people out of our 5.
And that's a quorum, 3 out of 5.
Right, yes.
It is, yeah.
So I guess this would be 4 out of 6 if you're going
Yeah.
that route, yeah. So I guess the question, if you want to actually implicitly or explicitly rather put it in there, a quorum shall be defined as,
A majority of appointed members at that time. I think says it right there, Mary Beth.
yeah,
yeah, I guess there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
good, yeah.
So in our case, it still means 4.
Correct.
Okay, so maybe we don't really have to do anything else about it. It's kind of already said.
Mm-hmm.
And how many members did it say that we could have 7 members on this committee?
Yes,
And we currently have 6, correct?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when does another member need to be in place by? If they were looking to,
Yeah, I think, Rocky, that Libby appoints in June. Any new members? Am I wrong about that?
That's normally when appointments are
Yeah.
made.
Mhm.
Our bylaws say we can have anywhere from, 5 to 7 members. So
okay, that's what I thought.
we don't need to have somebody appointed.
Okay.
But if we find an appropriate person or somebody
Mhm.
appropriate wants to join us, then we can go through that process.
Right, so
Did
if
somebody,
anyone that's interested would fill out an application at Libby's office or the town, I don't know exactly where it is, but at town building somewhere. And then when Libby receives all the applications and it's time to appoint new members, That's usually done by July 1st, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
By the
That-
selectmen, yes.
Yeah, but Libby actually appoints the commission members.
Doesn't she put
Yeah, the
out like a
town manager
solicitation?
appoints, for Commission on Disabilities, the town manager does the appointment, not the select board.
But isn't annually, isn't there around this, like maybe around March, isn't there like a solicitation that goes out listing all committees or commissions or?
Ye- They
Or
do,
am I-
they list the vacancies, correct,
Yeah, okay.
yep. So
Can somebody
typically,
tell me if I'm on a 1 year, 2 year term? I don't even know what I signed up for. I know what I
Yes.
signed up for, but I didn't know for how long.
you know what, Rocky, if on the website, on our webpage, it has your expiration
Oh.
date. As a matter of fact, because I went and I changed some stuff on our webpage because it had some that needed updating. I didn't exactly
Hmm.
look at yours, but
Okay, I'll
I-
look, thanks.
if not, I'd be happy to look for you, Rocky.
That's okay. I'm just curious.
It's in the town report. I believe.
Yeah, and it's on our webpage too, Jeanette.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Georgia, did you have any other comments about the bylaws?
No, that was my only curious, I was just curious about how we would do that, so that sounds good.
That's two, actually. Good. Anybody else? Okay, so, I'm gonna stop sharing. So I think just to make this official, we should take a vote to adopt these bylaws by the commission. So I'll take a motion to do so.
I move that we approve the new bylaws for 2024.
I'll second.
Okay,
Okay.
Georgia,
And that was seconded by Jeanette.
yes.
Okay,
Mickey, are we still seeing your screen?
I stopped sharing. Did you want to still see it?
No, I don't. I just don't know how to, okay. All right, I'm good.
Okay, so all those in favor of George's motion, Rocky, Mary Beth,
Aye.
Boggy,
Aye.
Georgia,
Aye.
Jeanette,
Aye.
and I'm an I as well. So, great, we've done that.
Good.
Looking,
Nice job, Mary Beth. That was really nice. Good.
it was
You
very.
guys did a great job.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yep.
It's my pleasure. As I said, I'm happy to do these things and I'm happy to continue to do more things if there are more things that need to be reviewed.
Oh, there will be.
Oh, boy, there you went, open your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better.
No, I'm not, bring it on.
You know what I liked about it? Like, this is my first time looking at the bylaws. And if I was to read this for the first time, it simplified it for me. You know, I could
Yeah.
read it if I was just someone coming in and reading it who wasn't in this group right now, but was to pick it up and read it. It's almost like in layman's terms almost.
Yeah.
readable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And coming from a lawyer, that's a compliment, Mary Beth. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we weeded out, because we spent a lot of, I mean, whatever, I spent some time, whatever, but when you, Mickey and I went through it, and the way that I approach things, as you guys so quickly, I was like, just ignore me if I'm like a total pain in the neck, I'm neurotic and anal obsessive compulsive, but it's to look at something and go, wait a minute, what does that mean? Because just because Massachusetts Commission on Disability words their things a certain way, it's like, I don't know what theirs means. So to me, that's sort of like the bottom line in reviewing things is what does that mean? And there really are no stupid questions if you don't know the answer.
Yep. All right. So that's new business. And I'm not seeing anything listed under old business. But on other business, we have the Brenda's update. So
We do. Mickey, can we go to the emergency preparedness plan first?
is that here
Can I
somewhere?
talk about that? No, I didn't put it on there, but that can be under other business, like for topics not anticipated, because we didn't know what we were gonna do about this.
Right,
Also,
yeah,
yeah, from Brendan. All right, so every town, city, has to have an emergency preparedness plan, and obviously Nantucket does have one, though I have not received a copy of one. But, I reached out to like Erica, okay, we want to kind of find out what is the emergency preparedness plan for elderly people, for people with disabilities, right? Whether they live at home or whether they're coming to the shelter, are they gonna have the proper equipment there? Is there an accessible bathroom? Can they bring their pets? Just a number of things, right? And so, she turned me on to, she forwarded my email to Brendan Coakley, he's lieutenant, and I think he's relatively new at the police department, but anyway. And he emailed me back and said, Brenda, he said that, they were actually have to update our emergency preparedness plan. Massachusetts requires this, and plus they have to like, their formatting has to be a little bit different. I said, great, Brendan. I says, when that happens, can you keep us in the loop? Because we want to we want to be part of like how the town plans to handle people who have disabilities and for the elderly people, right? And so I found this this great it's like promising practices for evacuating people with disabilities. It was an evacuation study, and basically what they did is they took there's 35 groups or agencies that are involved with evacuation, with emergency preparedness throughout the country, and they discuss in this study, it doesn't all pertain to Nantucket, but there's some really good information in here. They talk about what practices worked and what practices didn't work, so like for example, one of the things is they thought that if there could be a registry out there for people that live alone or at homes, or it doesn't have to be alone, that are going to need special help during an evacuation or an emergency, you keep a list, right? So then when the emergency arises, you would say, okay, you got to go to Brenda McDonough's house, she has 3 cats and they need to be evacuated quickly, or whatever it might be, right? But they were saying the people in this study, and they said that they don't work because, number one, it's very costly to do a list. I mean, these are for like major cities and stuff too, let's face it, right? And they said, and it constantly needs updating. Who's updating the list? Who's not updating the list? And what happened in Galveston, there was like one of the storms that were coming through. They had 300 people initially signed up in advance to be on the registry for someone needing help during an evacuation emergency. Well, now they know this massive storm is heading their way. And so now within a couple of days, they got 3,000 calls to go on that list. And they said it was just impossible, and so many of them said that the lists do not work. A lot of people don't want to give out their medical information why they need to be on this list. There was just so I thought it was really good because the list sounded good, but listening to what everyone has to say, it didn't work for any one of them except one. I think it worked for down in Florida. And but anyways, I sent this along to Brendan Coakley, Lieutenant Coakley, and just saying, like, just review it. I mean, like, it kind of gives you like a starting point of what we could be doing for people with disabilities. So I have not heard back from him because I know they were thinking about updating their emergency preparedness plan. Anyways, I emailed him again. I think he was coming back to the office yesterday. And I just kind of requested that, a lot of, in this study, they said that, what is helpful instead of having one list is getting like all the groups that are involved. It could be like Meals on Wheels. They have a list, it could be Council on Aging. They have a list. Salt Marsh Center might have a list, and then you have, and get all those entities together under one umbrella to like discuss, even people that have a disability, to discuss what their needs might be if they go to a shelter. How are they going to get to the shelter? How, do they need an accessible vehicle when they're being evacuated? Just all this kind of stuff. It was really kind of interesting. So I asked Brendan again, I said, we really want to be involved in this and somehow, and I think it'd be great if we had other entities involved that are involved with elderly people and people with disabilities. And also disabled people themselves or elderly people themselves, because they're the ones that can tell you when we get to a shelter, what do we need? You know, we have to make sure we have our medications, we need our oxygen, you know, we just like, anyway, I would love for our commission to be all part of this, put it that way, you know, so that's what I'm advocating for. So where I started with this with him, and when I emailed him 2 days ago, was please send me a copy of the existing emergency preparedness plan, right? And then we can kind of go from there. So that's what I'm waiting for. I don't know how everyone else feels about this. Comments?
Well, I think it's a great idea, and actually you made me think of something, Brenda, when we what's that? What?
I was gonna say something too,
Okay, yeah, so anyhow, we came back here in 2010 after living in Arizona for several years, and Augie
That's
had, because he
2009.
2010, no, 2013.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's 2013, yeah.
and because was in the special ed program at the high school, when we had IEP meetings, individualized education plan meetings, the first one that we had upon returning were his teachers and the department heads, whatever. But the point is that Liz, what was her name?
Liz Sullivan.
No, fire department.
Oh, Liz Shannon.
Liz Shannon, who was then, I think, like the communications officer at the fire department. She was there. I don't know how she knew to show up or who invited her. I never did quite find out, but she was there. And I thought that was fabulous. And she was like, well, we're aware, you know, he's in a wheelchair, he's disabled. And we, you know, she wanted to be there and hear what went on at the IEP meeting, blah, blah, blah. I was all for it. I thought it was fantastic. Haven't heard anything since. And I'm just now thinking, do they still do that?
can I
IEP meetings?
add a few
I don't,
things?
yeah.
Yeah,
For, I don't know, say what
I-
kids, and I have no idea how it's dealt with for adults. So, well, now he's full,
It
well.
was, I was part of the Red Cross. We had a Red Cross unit here, a trained unit, and we dealt with all of those issues actually. When we opened a shelter during a hurricane one time, and we had plans for all of that because we had a van that we could use and did pick up people for that. But also, the town has had a emergency management plan for a long time.
Mhm.
Not new. I mean, we've had one that maybe
Oh,
needed to be updated, I would imagine. So,
Mhm.
but and I know there has been there was talk in some of the meetings a couple times I talked to Dave Franzuto about it, and I know that, you know, talking about how to handle pets and handicapped people, getting them in and out. I think the police department have a list of people who they check on regularly who are alone and elderly or handicapped. But I mean, there's a bunch of different things. Peter McKay knew all of this, but he's not there. So, but anyway, so the Red Cross is unfortunately not active on the island right now, although most of us who were trained are still here, but not active anymore.
I just went through my Red Cross training.
Oh, you
I
did?
just finished it. Yes,
You did
Barry
it?
Rector was
Who did it?
Barry Rector was,
Barry
Barry,
did?
I just finished,
Good
no,
for
no, no,
Barry.
Barry didn't do it.
Yeah, he
Barry
took
was my
over.
contact.
He took over when I left. He took over when I
Okay.
left.
All right, so Barry was my contact on Nantucket. And I took all my classes online.
Okay.
And there was nothing brought up about anything with people with disabilities in the 7-hour training that course that they did.
Right.
Now Barry Rector would be the person that, pertaining to Augie, those such like Augie, would be the person that you can reach out. Since I'm a member now, I can reach out on this group's behalf if they'd like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has to be dealt. Yeah, no, it has to be dealt with. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Rocky, go back to what was the Red Cross training for and what was it about?
It was basically, it was just all of, when I did mine, I've been summoned probably 12 times to leave the island to go help other places in Massachusetts since September. I get these emails that come to me, are you available? Because I signed up for being able to leave on the spot. But sometimes they forget that I'm on an island. But basically what consists for of me is just the simple stuff when they close down the high school or things like that. But they've asked last time was something on the Cape, and it's something, big storms or something little, they just need extra bodies and things like that to coordinate. But, yeah, so I will, get in touch with Barry and let him know that, he's good with following up too. So,
We did all the trainings here. We had 10 people do the trainings here
Yeah.
about probably 10 or 15 years ago. So
yeah, I'm not even sure. I think there's only 6 people involved in it right now. So,
yeah, yeah, okay.
6 people involved in the Red Cross?
Well, it's probably
Yeah.
Mary Ann and Barry.
I've never met him. Knock on wood, there's been no disasters here.
I know,
We did a couple of we helped people with fires a couple times.
Yeah, they help the fire department out with things like that.
Vouchers
Yeah,
from vouchers from Stop and Shop and stuff like that.
yeah,
And
yeah. They were very prevalent when the fire downtown happened.
yeah,
The Red Cross played a pertinent part in that.
that's great.
Lines.
Well, I'm glad it's I still
The
remember.
numbers are dwindling, but we could,
Yep.
we'll see what happens.
Cool. Yeah. Great.
so Barry Rector was the Red Cross contact. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
So my take on this, where this could lead to is, as Brenda says, one person holding a big, long list is probably not going to work. If the updating just seems like an endless task.
Yeah.
But, perhaps what we'll end up with is a short list of people who have their own lists that are active.
Yeah.
And, one person can coordinate between those several other people where to find the people that are in need.
Sure. That's good.
So
That'd be-
we'll see what, this will play out slowly, I'm sure, but it would be really nice to see what the current plan is so we could at least weigh in on it.
We call that the I know a guy list. That's just, I know a guy list.
Might be a
That's
while
exactly
till you
what
go
it
back
is.
about the plan.
I'd love to see their evacuation plan for Nantucket.
oh, I know, but they have to have one. They
That ought to
have
be
I mean,
really
they already
cool.
have an evacuation plan. Like I say, I know they have one. They just have, I have not seen it.
Where would we go? So
I know. Hold on.
That's kind of a scary question. Nowhere.
it is, isn't it?
I'm going to my basement. I am. Well, we got a wine cooler down there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we all go to the chicken box and party like it's
Oh,
1999.
exactly. You know what?
It's over.
When I was talking to Mickey about like having like, say like the Council on Aging or the Salt Marsh Center or Meals on Wheels, everybody has their own, like separate list of like people that they have in their organization or people that they cater to. And so you have multiple people involved, like when an emergency does arise, okay, Brenda McDonough, you can take care of like, like the people in Mattocket or whatever it might be. And know what I told Mickey? I want my evacuation center to be the chicken box.
Yeah.
I
Be
said,
aligned.
that was
We'll
on
be
that board
aligned.
now, I can do that.
See, now I'm on your I know a guy list, aren't I?
Oh yeah, you're on me, I know a guy. I know a
That
guy.
didn't take long. That didn't take long.
And he has the keys.
Yeah.
By the way, the only shelter on Nantucket that I know is guaranteed for 100-mile-an-hour winds is the high school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just guess that,
The only it's the only certified or whatever you call it,
Yeah.
place that was erected with that in mind of having a place where they could withstand that. So
yeah.
I don't think they built anything since then that would do that.
No.
So yeah.
I know, there's been a lot of storms in the blocks and they withstood it, right, Rocky?
Since 1957, still standing.
Yeah,
I
there you
remember some
go.
of those storms actually.
So back to so once I do hear from Brendan and once we get a copy of the evacuation plan, I can send it out to everybody so people are aware what they actually have in the plan for people with disabilities. And then we can maybe kind of go from there. I know this is going to be like an ongoing process, but I didn't want that first email that I sent to Brendan Coakley to just like just go by the wayside, which I don't think it really did. I just
Yeah.
don't think anything's, they're waiting to update and edit their emergency preparedness plan, and maybe then he was gonna get back with me, but anyways, we'll see.
Have we talked to the new police chief and or the fire chief for suggestions of what they might have done or know what to do?
Jeanette, I have not talked to the police chief or the fire chief.
I think they're both on the emergency management,
Oh, yeah,
I think they both are.
Right, but it'd be good to get our personal opinion from them,
Yeah.
that come to a meeting or something, I don't know.
right. I think that's a really good idea, Jeanette, for them to attend a meeting and we can discuss a lot of things, or they can let us know what their thoughts are. But
Mhm.
but I'm thinking, like, first we gotta know what the emergency preparedness plan is, right?
Right, but I mean, they could suggest some things that we should do. They may
Exactly.
have done it where they
exactly.
came from.
No, I
Yeah.
totally agree. I think this is gonna be, it's gonna take a while to put it all in writing and to get the
Mhm.
points of view of everyone, but I think it's important to get the points of view of everyone, including the police and fire chief, right?
Right, I agree.
And Sherry Hunt. Sherry Hunt
Yeah.
knows most of the people who would need to be taken care of.
Yeah. Okay, so that's where we stand with that.
Okay.
Everyone cool with that?
I am.
Oh, there you go. All right, so let's see what has been going on with the commission. Okay, so Rocky turned me on to what was her name? Nancy Swain, was it? The hospital doors were extremely heavy. No, actually, she was talking about the restroom doors at the hospital were extremely heavy, and she uses a walker. So I visited the hospital. I think I might have sent an email out about this, but just kind of like updating it again. I sent an email out to the hospital, and they were so responsive and so glad. They said they had no idea, so what they ended up doing was they ended up making sure all the doors in the hospital, every single one of them, either complied with the closing force or was less than that. So they were just really nice about it. They did it almost immediately, which is great. Like, it was really great. Thanks, Rocky, for turning me on to that. But it's really great to have the public input because, like, it's what they're experiencing out there. And, if we can help some way, I think that's why we're here, right?
Hey,
Oh,
Brenda,
Definitely.
Brenda,
Go ahead.
so if a door has an automatic, push button opener on it,
Yeah,
it's exempt from that, I'm guessing, or is, or,
yeah. If it has there's no closing force on it, right? The whole idea is, like, a lot of times you put an automatic door opener if a door can't be in complete compliance with, like, the pull side clearance or whatever it might be, right? And but yeah, if it has an automatic door opener, then it's automatically in compliance.
so, because sometimes those doors are the hardest ones to open because of the mechanisms behind them.
Right, but right, and that might be just what they have to do to be an automatic door, right, Nikki? But if you have an automatic door opener that works, like on the town building or up at the hospital or wherever, then they're in complete compliance,
Yes.
regardless of what the force is, like,
Mhm.
coming out.
Yep.
And then another thing that was brought to our attention at the same time was the Stop and Shop cat corrals. So Nancy Swain, it would really benefit her and probably a lot of other people if the corrals are parked right next to the accessible parking space. As you go into the door, where most of the accessible parking spaces are, as you go into the door to the produce, right? That entrance. And so Mickey and I, in January, visited the Stop and Shop, and we talked to the manager there, Dave, and he kind of just said, well, let's see, this is the Stop and Shop on Sparks, right? Sparks and Pleasant,
Right.
Midtown. And so he says, well, I'll take it under advisement, more or less. He says, I think I have to reach out to, like, the corporate, Stop and Shop, because they're the ones that actually tell you where to put these shopping cart corrals. And And so, anyways, okay, we kind of left it at that. And then I probably went in about, let's say a week and a half later or whatever, and the cats were still in the same place. And I saw him and I asked him, and basically he's not gonna move them. You know, he said, well, they're only two spaces away from the accessible parking space, only 2 spaces away from the cart corrals. Now I goes, yeah, you know, when you have a disability, 2 spaces is a long way to go. You know, some people like to get out of their car, get the cart. They almost use it as a walker. And I said, you see all the elderly people here in the store, how much they're leaning in those carts. If they could have it more accessible to them, then you know, it's just an accommodation that you could make for them. And I basically I may as well be talking to them.
So where was it that the suggestion was that they would go?
So, you know where the accessible parking spaces are at the Mid
Very
Island
well.
Stop and Shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Where
I'm
they,
always ready to like crack a windshield, you know, in the summer when someone has like an out of state, you know, placard and whatever. So yeah, I know where the spots are, but yeah.
okay, yeah, so there's the cart corral in that, like, in that, where the accessible parking spaces are. The cart corral is actually 2 more spaces away from the accessible parking space.
And
We were asking them to put the cart corral right next to the accessible parking spaces. And this cart corral is not bolted down. Some of them are, but this one is not bolted down at all. So it only means a matter of taking them up, moving them and putting them there, but he didn't,
yeah, see,
I can agree.
no, I don't think it's gonna happen, you know, it basically told me it wasn't gonna happen, you know.
my
so-
problem with that would be, and it might be just unique to us, is that then they'd probably take up one of the diagonal line.
Oh, no, we wouldn't let that
Oh, wouldn't
happen.
it? Okay.
Oh, no, we wouldn't let it interfere with any access aisles or anything, not at all.
Okay, I'm gonna look the next time I'm there. So they
Yeah.
want, so it's like,
They have it in the middle.
handicap spot striped thing,
It's right in
and
the
then
middle.
handicap spot, and then the corral is after that, or it's
Yeah,
two
the cor-
spaces to.
It's
right
2
there.
spaces after the accessible
Spaces
parking
after
space,
that.
yeah,
It's right in the
exactly.
middle. It's right in
Okay.
the
And
middle.
so where they would like it is,
You have an
It's-
opinion on this?
Yeah, it's right in the middle. It's right in the middle.
In the middle of the row.
Yeah,
Okay,
they put it in the middle of the
so you
row.
do think that's far away too?
Yeah, I do think it's far away.
From the.
It should be near the handicap spot, it should be.
Yeah,
I
there you
agree.
go, Augie.
Because there's some people who also,
or
That
do you
makes
know
sense.
what?
wait.
What if, I don't
Do they have a
know,
heart
this is probably
condition?
asking way too much,
some
but
people-
what if heart condition, he's saying someone has a heart condition.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
What if
hard.
they won't do that? I don't know, as I'm saying, and I'm realizing it's ridiculous
Can't
because
walk
it's,
that much.
they probably never agree to it and it's
Yeah.
impossible to
They probably won't
quote
do
unquote
it.
enforce. If they
Right.
have an employee accompany the person out to the
Oh,
parking lot.
yeah.
Okay, but it's, so.
But it would only be people on the island who knew about it, so it wouldn't help
Yeah.
out any visitors or anything, and they wouldn't ever agree to it, I'm sure anyhow,
Well,
right?
that, you know, that's what Dave said to me. He says, Brenda, he says, we can just have somebody can go, somebody's always in the parking lot and they can always grab a card for them. I goes, I just came in, there's nobody in the parking lot, Dave. So that is
Okay.
not, that is not gonna happen. I can see,
Somebody's not
so
always
leave
in the
in the
parking
store,
lot,
you can get an
but-
employee to do that, but
Do you know what
Yeah,
I've
that's what
noticed,
happened.
Brenda,
Yeah, that's what
at
happened.
our beloved Bartlett's?
Yeah, that's what
This,
happened.
I've seen people, getting help by employees
Yeah,
who
they're-
are checking out there, but that's a different,
Yeah,
situation.
exactly.
I mean, it feels kind of like Bartlett's is like private school and
Oh.
the Stop and Shop is public school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no one wants to go the extra mile. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I've dealt with Dave for,
Oh, good.
over 15 years, and you are talking to a wall. Recently, the reason why Dave is at that store, because a former manager got fired. Dave was at, the A&P store.
Yeah.
Until the manager who was managing, that store got fired and moved from the island, so Dave got put into that position that he didn't want. So whenever I needed to get donations or anything, I had to go under the person under him, Patty Malloy, who now works for Harbor Fuel, for anything I wanted. You're gonna have to go over his head and give him a haircut and go right to corporate on this. And if you're writing letters to the State House on the other matters, I would write it and use our letterhead, this commission's letterhead. And, that's the route I would go, because I mean, I'd be I might have, I mean, I can go and talk to him too, but, he's gonna tell me the same thing. I mean, I can't even get the scales in here to work and weigh my fruit.
Oh, man.
You think he's gonna give a crap about parking? But no, you know, and I park in those spots next to those carriages, and
Yeah.
now I can't get it out of my mind. Every time I go in there, I'm like, oh my God, this is a perfect spot for someone who has a placard to use. It comes back to the question we brought up earlier. How many spots are supposed to be allotted out of the total number for handicap use? And is Stop and Shop in compliance with that?
You know,
And if so, do their employee cars count in the spaces? And does so I'm wondering if they're not in compliant with the number of spots they're supposed to have to begin with.
I bet that's really tricky to tell, because with a restaurant, right? And I'm certainly no expert on this, but isn't it based on capacity, potential capacity, right? Maximum capacity.
Yeah, not
With
anymore.
Stop and Shop, you
No.
could probably shove 5,000 people in
Yeah.
there if you wanted to.
It's
And
not restaurant occupancy, like my bar occupancy is not the same as it is anymore. When they started, like for example, the Rose and Crown, they have half the capacity that I have, but they don't have any parking,
right.
right? So it's more based on,
know what the public parking is based on? The Architectural Access Board's rules and regulations. Depending on how many parking spaces you have, a proportion of them have to be wheelchair accessible. And they have a strict formula, 15 to 20 to 24 is one space, 25 to 49 is two spaces. You know, so you count the total number of parking spaces that are in the Stop and Shop, and then you go to that formula and see if they're in compliance, and I'd be more than happy to do that.
Yeah,
I got a click out right next
I'm happy to
door.
help you with that too, Brenda.
Yeah, it's not
if you-
enough
yeah.
parking spots.
I don't think there are enough spots either, because
No, I know.
it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so that's how you get his attention. That's how you get his attention. Listen, we asked you nicely, but now you're not in compliance. So there we
Yeah.
are.
Well, I'm gonna
Right.
make sure that they aren't in compliance before I say that to them, but Rocky, you
Oh
know,
yeah, 100%.
if the commission wants me to send a
That's
letter
possible.
to go over his head, I'd be more than happy to.
and you know,
Well,
where
I think
are
what-
the employees parking? Because I can just, when
Yeah,
I
where
was
were
in
they
there
parking?
yesterday, I see it all the time, and I don't care where someone takes their break or their whatever, but I recognize someone who works there, and they're sitting in their car in like a regular parking spot, like on the phone, like forever, like they do their lunch or their break or their dinner or whatever. You know what I mean? Like no one's trying to hide. They're right there in the regular parking spots. I
Their
don't,
employee parking is their employee parking is where you and I are supposed to park.
yeah,
So I'm wondering, I think you have some little bit of wiggle room, and him just to be adamant about, we're not gonna do this. That's not cool, and I don't like it.
what?
I said that him just to be like, no, we're not gonna do it. This is
yeah.
why, to
Oh,
be adamant about it
oh.
is not cool, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Do you know what else? This is just a little a side issue. But dear sweet Ethan, I asked like 3 times and spoke with the manager. I don't know which manager it was. They had said that they were going to put up some sort of like a plaque or a tribute to that dear sweet soul, and no one ever did. I'm just throwing that out there. He was a sweetheart.
He was great.
Yeah, he was.
Who was this, Ethan?
Ethan, yeah.
Ethan.
Why don't we have a placard made and
Douglas.
put it
was
on
there,
there?
and he is
Yeah,
so
why
much
don't we?
Hold on, hold
than
on. George is
Ethan
talking.
was. And he comes in and shakes your hand and all that kind of stuff and takes your card. And I don't
Well,
shop
yeah.
that much, but every time I see him, I remember his name, and that makes him happy, I think.
I'm
Oh,
gonna,
yeah.
Yeah.
Douglas,
Well, there's
Douglas
that
is the
person
new
you were
guy.
talking about. That was the guy you're talking about, who at Bartlett's used to help out. That was Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I feel bad. All the times I saw him like walking home in the snow, and I always felt like stopping and asking, like Augie would be like, "Yeah, leave him alone, Mom." I didn't want to get in the car with you.
Stranger danger.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I will send a letter then, okay?
Sounds
Yeah,
like a
100%.
plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'll take pictures and I'll send a letter.
Let's count the parking spaces too.
I'll count the parking spaces for sure. Okay,
That's gonna be a glamorous task, Brenda.
I'm just gonna walk around and
Oh,
Just
I
kidding.
don't think it's gonna be
Yeah,
that
some of
difficult, right?
it's not spots that are even wide
I don't
enough
think
either.
anybody's gonna be watching you if you're taking pictures.
Yeah.
They're all busy to get into the grocery
That's
store.
fine.
I don't care if they are. That does not matter to me at all, Jeanette.
That's-
Okay, so that's about the Stop and Shop. So I'm glad we have this discussion
Alright.
because I think we can go forward too. Thanks for your input there, Rocky. Okay,
Welcome.
so couple of things that we're working on. You know where the White Heron Theater is, right there on North Beach Street, and the corner is Whalers Lane. We're gonna ask for, we asked for an accessible parking space right there on Whalers Lane. You know, it's a paved road, it's right adjacent to the White Heron Theater, and I think it's a perfect spot for an accessible parking space. And I think Whalers Lane is a two-way, believe it or not.
Mhm.
It is, yep. So whether you're coming from North Beach, South Beach Street rather, no, yeah, South Beach Street, and coming up Whalers Lane, it's right there, right before North Water Street. So you can get into it that way. Or if you're just coming right down North Water Street, you can just bang into the space there. So I think it's a really good place for parking space. So traffic safety is gonna look at that in March. Okay,
Good.
sound good? Yep, all right. So then, okay, we already talked about the emergency preparedness plan. So last year for special town meeting, the whole thing came up about assistive listening devices. And so, and about getting like American Sign Language interpreters, whatever, whatever we needed to do for anyone that was deaf or hard of hearing. And so the assisted listening devices the town have are archaic. So they
Sure.
and I don't think they get used a lot, but I don't think people know that we have them either, right? So we did a little research. I put out my suggestion, I'm not an expert in this, but I did do some research on it anyway. The town is purchasing those assisted listening devices, which you can either receive them via internet or I forget the other way, but there's a couple ways you can receive the you can hear on these
Hear.
assisted listening devices. And so we're getting new ones. They're gonna be there for town meeting. They're gonna have them right as you come in. They're advertising, so they're right as you come into town meeting, they're going to have a table there and they're gonna have the assisted listening devices there and somebody there to help the person, you know, put them on, tell them how to operate them and everything. So I thought that was pretty good, right?
Yes,
Okay.
very good.
And so now, last year when we had town meeting, Libby asked me to look into like an American Sign Language interpreter with the Mass Office for the Commission, the Mass Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. So I did. I reached out to them. I told them what it entails. I think last year might have been on a Saturday. It was on a Saturday and regular town meeting, and so they were got we had some sign language interpreters, they would have to come Friday night. We'd have to pay for lodging, pay their expenses to travel, whatever. And so I put it out with I asked for the request, say in February or January. They put it out to all the interpreters. Nobody wanted the job. Nobody wanted the assignment. So if anybody ever requested them, we couldn't even get a person to attend that meeting. So I did some research on like remote cart reporters. Cart reporters are what's the acronym? They are a remote communication access real-time translation. What happens is, say like we're at town meeting, the moderator's speaking, it's like via Zoom, they hear the message remotely. They're like almost like a court stenographer. They type a message on a web link that someone will be, whoever needs that interpreter or that reporter, they have a link to it and the message comes through and they can read it. So that's what a CART reporter does. And then the American Sign Language interpreter would be the same thing. It'd be remote. They would have a video of the interpreter, like doing the sign language and everything. The one thing about a sign language interpreter is that not everybody reads sign language, right? So a CART reporter that I was told is really much more popular these days, because everybody doesn't know sign language, but most everybody can read. So anyways, I found so I found this great woman I think she's in like New Jersey. Yeah, in New Jersey. And she gave me all the information what we need to do. I asked her to put that in writing in an email. So Libby's copied on it, Jericho, Nancy Holmes is copied on it. It's what equipment the town will need, how it works and everything. So I think the town is putting out, I don't do social media, so the town put out in their social media in any advertising they do that the town will hire a remote CART reporter or a remote American Sign Language interpreter if requested by, we put down April 16th, 3 weeks before town meeting. However, if someone requested 2 weeks before, we still have to reach out and see if we can get that. You know, this woman in New Jersey, Lauren, requested 3 weeks, but can do it in less than 3 weeks also. So anyway, so
Good to hear.
yeah, so so we have that base covered for town meeting, put it that way, okay? So now we have one accessible taxi on the island right now, KCK Taxi, right? And this woman, Tanya, who used to work for John St. Laurent with the Topscott Taxi, she wants one of the accessible taxi license and she got it. Now she had to look for an accessible vehicle. She realized how much they cost. She went through a big, huge process, you know. She's actually going to get Bob Hickman's accessible taxi that he had because he gave up his accessible license last year. So that should be on the road any day now. There was a little glitch in like the title. They needed to send them the title to Val Ryder in Florida for her to sign something. Anyway, we're going to have a new accessible taxi on the road, Tanya, and she is so excited about it. And I'm excited to have her on board.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, isn't that good? I emailed,
Awesome.
there's 2 more accessible taxi license out there if anybody wants one. I emailed Laura at the town clerk's office to see if anybody has shown any interest in either of those licenses. So we could have up to 4 accessible taxis on the
Brenda,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
comment about that. The requirements for running an accessible taxi they're pretty strict, as I recall. You have to
Right.
have them available like every day. I don't know.
Yeah, on demand,
24/7.
18 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I wonder if it might be, since we're not getting a lot of response to getting new taxi licenses.
Yeah.
Maybe if we relax that requirement a little bit to give some people the time off, or, because it's almost, I mean, you can't do this by yourself. You have to have it
Right.
on the road, every day.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it might be worth considering looking at those rules and maybe relaxing them a little bit just to get more demand.
yep. Okay. Okay. I reached out to Drew Patnoid, the new DPW director. Nikki and I met with him in January. No, we met with him last year and just went over some areas that we thought could use curb cuts and crosswalks. But one of the crosswalks that we talked about was already in place. It's right there on Broad Street, right at Federal Street. It crosses Broad Street, and it has a crosswalk but no curb cuts. So what he did
That's your spot.
in the
Yeah.
interim was he just put an asphalt ramp. It's really not a compliant curb cut. So I reached out to him just to make sure that a compliant curb cut's going to go in when they resume sidewalk repairs this spring, just so you know. So that will be a compliant curb cut at some point.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Did you use that yet, Augie?
What's that?
Oh, was that Augie? Did you use,
Augie, okay.
did you use that,
No, I didn't use it yet, cause it wasn't.
okay, good enough. I was just curious how it worked, that's all, but
Wasn't
it
done.
will be a compliant curb cut.
I just have to get a sip of water. I'm just gonna sneak
Yeah,
it
they
out here.
didn't, yeah, they didn't fix it yet, I don't think.
You know what they put, well, Augie, they put like this asphalt, they just filled in asphalt and made it kind of like an asphalt ramp right there.
Yeah,
It'll do the trick, but it's not compliant. How's that?
yeah, I haven't seen it for a while, cause I haven't been to the Brotherhood for a long time.
Oh, we go all the time.
Yeah,
Okay, so, and also I was at the health department the other day and I noticed they had an accessible parking space, but it's not striped. So I asked Drew to also stripe that space in that and
yeah,
put it in access aisle. And then we were thinking of inviting the Disability Persons Protective Commission to one of our meetings and let them know, and they can tell us about what they do. And this is what their definition is. The Disability Persons Protective Commission protects adults with disabilities from the abusive acts or omissions of their caregivers through investigation, oversight, public awareness, and prevention. I don't know if that's someone we would want to invite to our meeting to find.
Didn't they reach out to us initially?
I think they did, Mickey, a while ago.
Yeah.
Do you think that, would you open that to the public?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what we'd open it to.
Okay,
Yeah,
that would be good for everyone to know, and a lot of people probably won't come or go.
yeah. But I didn't know if that was something you'd be interested in, hearing about, or think that is a need here on Nantucket for that people to know that they have, if they are being abused, if they have some place to turn to.
I kind of
think
missed it.
more
Where is the person from?
get to the
Like, stepped up.
community is best.
Say that
To tell
again,
you the
please,
truth.
Jeanette. Say that.
I said, I think the more information we get to the community is best. It really works. I would hope that they would know. A lot of people don't know what's around, you know, and they're afraid to ask. Maybe they'd be afraid to go to the meeting, but maybe have it at Saltmarsh or something, because there's lots of people that go there, as you know,
Yep.
so.
Okay, I'll look into it and then we can, how's that sound?
Good for me.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all I got. I can stop talking.
You can get a glass
Are
of
you
water
sure?
or a beer.
It's almost time for beer.
Yeah.
I should have brought the water with me.
Okay, having concluded the update. Does anybody else have any other business they want to bring up?
Did you have a chance to see whether the parking lot by the A&P, will say, is well lit in the evening?
Oh. I will do that, Jeanette.
Okay. I mean, I generally try to carry a flashlight with me, but and I'm sure that other people do too.
I can't
Okay, I'll
imagine
look at
it's
that.
very well lit. I mean,
Thank
there's no place in town that's very well lit.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anybody else have anything to say?
I'm really gonna have.
Nope. Nope.
Good.
All right. I think we're done. Can I get a
Awesome.
motion to adjourn?
Make a
I'll
motion to
make that
adjourn.
motion.
Okay, Rocky beat you to it. Jeanette, do you want to second that, Jeanette?
Yes, second.
Okay. All those in favor, we can do a voice vote on this to say aye.
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 Okay, we're good. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Thanks, you
You
too.
too.
Yeah,